What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and I'm joined by Tyler, and we are back for our Spider-Man Community Series, a community series that airs every single Thursday at noon Eastern Standard Time, leading up to Spider-Man releasing exclusively on the PlayStation 4 on September 7th. Last week, we had a topic talking about Spider-Man as a superhero game, talking about if it's going to be or can it be the best superhero game to ever come out. This time, we want to talk about a specific topic in the game. We want to talk about where's Green Goblin. We have a little bit of background information. We also have just our thoughts and opinions as to what this game is doing, pretty unique from what the actual Spider-Man story is. So Tyler and I are going to go back and forth on that. As always, if you guys want us to talk about something specific regarding Spider-Man, leave in the comments below. Again, Spider-Man comes out very soon. We're going to have videos on it. We're going to have a giveaway. Lots of stuff about the game. So Tyler, what do we know about whatever they could do with this Green Goblin storyline in this game?
What you guys might not know, there's a prequel novel that came out for this, Spider-Man PS4 game. And it's titled Spider-Man Hostile Takeover. And so again, it's a prequel novel, and it's about basically what Spider-Man is up to before we meet him in the game, before the opening, and it sets the stage for the fight, the confrontation that Spider-Man has with Kingpin towards the opening of the game. So basically, this Hostile Takeover is either days, weeks, whatever, that lead into the opening of the game. So what we learned in it, though, that has to do with Norman Osborn and even Harry Osborn, because both end up being Green Goblin eventually, but mainly Norman Osborn has that title of Green Goblin. But so what it seems like right now, based on Hostile Takeover, is Norman Osborn is not Green Goblin yet. There is no Green Goblin. He does not exist. He's probably not in this game. He probably will be in the sequel. But here's what we learned. So now in the game, Harry will already be in Europe. He'll already be in Europe. But before the game starts, Peter and Harry are very close friends. Harry is Norman Osborn's son. But Harry tells Peter that he's heading overseas to find himself. Now Peter, how he feels about Norman, he just kind of, he's not a fan. He's not a fan of Norman Osborn. He sees him as an overbearing father and just the mayor of New York City. He doesn't have any... I don't know if he really even cares about Norman Osborn. Really, it's just kind of like the friend of... it's the father of his friend. That's really it. It's nothing like the Tobey Maguire, where Norman acted as though he was a little bit... like he saw him as like a father figure. That's not in this. That is not in this game. Or the story. Really, it's a unique individual story, kind of like Alex said. As I was saying, so there's no Green Goblin yet. However, there is something that the story kind of hints at. There's a secret that Norman has. There's something that he's hiding. And so here's what we learned in the Hostile Takeover. So this is like a quote thing. As Wilson Fisk, Kingpin, attempts to find himself a powerful new position within the city, which will make him untouchable, it's revealed that he has dirt on Norman Osborn, something he can use to get the mayor to appoint him to a position which will stop the cops from ever being able to take him down. We never learn what that is, but there's mention of a cure. So we could speculate on cure for what? Maybe is Norman Osborn dying? That would be more like the Amazing Spider-Man series, where he's got this, deathly... He's deathly ill. He's dying, and the Green Goblin stuff is supposed to help him live. We never saw what happens with that because they canceled that because now they made the deal with Sony made the deal with Marvel. So I personally don't see that being the route, because why would you copy, again, if you're doing the unique thing, why would you even copy the Amazing Spider-Man Norman Osborn plot? I don't think that they will. So it's interesting what that cure is. And again, we can go into what that might be. But anyway, so then we learn that Norman Osborn was responsible for experiments which resulted in what was the villain of this Hostile Takeover, known as Blood Spider. And that Blood Spider, he also has spider powers of his own, similar to Spider-Man. And it's clear that the mayor has a vested interest in creating powered individuals. Again, he's not Green Goblin. There is no Green Goblin yet, but he is, he's literally, if there's experiments, that means, and he's mayor, And for you to be mayor, you have to have a lot of money just to even campaign. So he's got money. He's investing in these experiments. It's resulting in essentially superhumans. And then you look at, there's a mention of a cure, and he's hiding something, whatever, that Kingpin knows. So, Kingpin has blackmail on Norman. So it kind of, you can kind of start to picture where maybe he does have some kind of illness, but maybe it's like Parkinson's, or maybe it's something where when he's older he won't be able to move. I don't know. I'm just speculating. I don't think it would be a death type illness. If it's along the lines of illness, maybe it's just something that would essentially make him, frail or not really be able to move. So maybe he's investing in these projects to not let that happen. So he kind of does get these superhuman type powers, which might end up leading to him becoming the Green Goblin. That's possible. That's sort of like the Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi Spider-Man, but he didn't. He just was kind of doing that. I recall he didn't have any issues. He was just kind of doing that. I think.
Yeah.
Maybe it had to do with disease. I don't think it had to do with disease with himself. I don't even remember what that was, because it was, I just had the image. When I think of it, I just think of Tobey Maguire crying. A couple times. In the same couple minutes.
Yeah. Because I think we agree, Green Goblin will not be a villain in this game.
I don't think Green Goblin will be in the game at all. Now, if he is, that'll be cool, because then we'll get answers. Yeah, that would be. I think at the end, the whole Kingpin thing, I think there'll be a revelation where it'll be oh shoot. Yeah. Or it'll be this is leading to the creation of Spider-Man's Joker. Yeah. Which will be cool. Because before it's here's the Joker, he's here. That for not before of Spider-Man, for the competition, Arkham series, Batman Arkham series. And it was here's Joker. Now, this is a question too. Because again, they won't copy it, but you can kind of take it in a similar way. Who do you think, in the trailer that we saw at E3, we clearly know there is a Sinister Six. I don't believe they'll be... I don't think we'll fight everybody at the same time in this. My opinion, that isn't how this game ends. This game, let's say it's a trilogy. I don't see them facing Sinister Six in Spider-Man 3. Or maybe Spider-Man the Sinister Six, or whatever they call it. I don't see that being the third game. I actually see that being the next game. I see the third game being Green Goblin. That's how I see it personally, only because when we look at what the Marvel Spider-Man movie is doing, they're setting up the Sinister Six. That'll be, that's years away, but that'll be Spider-Man 4 or 5, or maybe 6, depending. But when you think about game timelines, so this comes out 2018, and then let's say 2.5, 3 years to the next one. That's reasonable. So now that's 2021, and then you do around, let's say, 3 years again. That's 2024. I feel within a few years after that, but not that long after that, we might be looking at a Spider-Man movie where it's the Sinister Six, and now I feel it's too close where you're going to compare too much. So for me, it makes sense for them, and they would know, Insomniac would know this because they're working with Marvel. For me, it would make more sense. Let's deal with the Sinister Six sooner rather than later. Spider-Man's been Spider-Man for a number of years already. I think it's 8 years he's been Spider-Man. So he already has been fighting these people. So it makes sense for him to go up and face him, and you're man, you're really taking him on right away. Yeah, because he's been Spider-Man for 8 years, and there's not even a Green Goblin yet. So what does that tell you about Green Goblin? They're saving him best for last. That's my opinion. Yeah. Because then there's so many villains for Spider-Man. You could always have a Spider-Man 4 game and do something else. But for me, Green Goblin and how they go about it, they can make Green Goblin be more of a Scarecrow type. He doesn't have to necessarily wear something that it could be he has this thing and people just see him as, I don't know how they'll do it, but I think he'll have a glider, but that would be the only thing that he has similar to the Green Goblin. I think this Green Goblin would be a very different manipulating, pulling the strings type in the shadows more in the next game. That's how I see Green Goblin. So for me, it makes sense that he's not even really in the first game, mainly because he's been. Literally, what did I just say? He's investing in these experiments. He has something that Kingpin has dirt on him about. So that means that he's been working on stuff. So he's already doing stuff in the shadows. If that's in the book, there's going to be little hints dropped in the game. Maybe there'll be like a newspaper headline or whatever that we have to see, like Easter eggs. So they'll be setting it up, I think, in this game, because I think this Green Goblin's going to be a very much shadowy type Green Goblin, which makes him beyond dangerous. And then don't forget, introducing Miles Morales in this game. We might get a Spider-Man game in, maybe not the next one, but maybe the next one. But maybe in the third game, where you can kind of switch back and forth between the two different Spider-Men. And maybe you'll need them, because maybe Green Goblin will be that. But I actually like talking about it now. I'm actually excited for what they could do, because, again, this is going to be a very different Spider-Man story where none of it's predictable. Like, you can't predict. I mean, they could literally kill Aunt May and Mary if they wanted to. They could, because Peter Parker doesn't work at the Daily Bugle. He works for Otto Octavius, which is Dr. Octopus. Mary Jane works for the Daily Bugle. That right there is the biggest switch. They're not together. They're already broken up. Again, there's not even mention of essentially who Peter Parker's working for with Dr. Octavius. The work that he's doing would fit more with Dr. Kurt Connors, which is the Lizard. So they already switched a little bit on what these villains or what these people do, like, backgrounds. So the fact that they've already done that tells me, like, I can't predict. I can theorize and all that stuff, but there's no way to predict at all what they're setting up. Which, in my opinion, for a character like Spider-Man, that everybody knows. That's why Marvel says, why are we going to do an origin story? Everybody knows the story. So, man, for me, that's so exciting, because it almost makes me feel like I have a brand new superhero that I can fall in love with again, because I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea what's going to happen next.
So let us know in the comments below, guys. What do you think of this? Where do you think Green Goblin is? How do you think they can introduce him? What do you think about Tyler's thoughts? Let us know in the comments below. Again, these Spider-Man community series come out every single Thursday at noon Eastern Standard Time. We got 2 more episodes before the game actually comes out. It'll come out September 7th exclusively on the PlayStation 4. We'll have videos on the game when it comes out, live streams, a giveaway, so on and so on. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next Thursday.